Welcome back, Lions fans. We're back with another episode of Basement Banter. It's been quite a while since you last saw us. Unfortunately, we had a few weeks where things just didn't work out. First week, our plans had been to do kind of a recap show after each game on Sunday nights and post that the next day. But the first week of the season, of course, they played the Rams, and that was a Sunday night game. So didn't quite work out for us there. I couldn't record, and busy work week after made things hard. So we took a week off there.
hmm
Uh, and then we had planned to record one after the Buccaneers game earlier in the week, but technical difficulties kind of shoved us off there. Our camera stopped working. It wasn't connecting right, so we had to take another brief break. So it's been about a week and a half since you guys have seen us
Yeah,
last.
so you can thank us for that. I feel inclined because the camera doesn't show it. This doesn't say no grit. It says no grit, no glory. For anybody that sees that and wants to complain, just had to throw that out there.
Yeah. So without further ado, we'll get into this show, and this week we're gonna kind of break down a little bit of what happened in the Rams game because I think it's pertinent to talk about that. It kind of carried over a little bit into the Buccaneers game that we saw last week. We'll spend time doing a little bit of what happened, what was going on in that game, our breakdown of what we saw, and then we'll jump into a preview of the Cardinals game coming up on this Sunday.
Yep, a little bit later game because we're over on the East Coast. Well, almost on the East Coast,
So
I
we have
guess,
4 o'clock kickoff this week then.
or West Coast. I'm sorry. What am I thinking? Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
4:25 or whatever. But yeah. So first and foremost, we want to shout out our sponsors. The show is brought to you by Empire Contractors out of Shelby, Michigan. Empire Contractors is a full-service roofing company. They specialize in liquid applied roof restoration. If you or someone you know needs a commercial roof, check them out at roofsbyempire.com or Facebook. Tell them Lions Banter sent you. All right, so without further ado, let's get into this. I think, like you were saying, we kind of just recap what we think about the Rams game, that Sunday night thriller, uh, and you said that it bleeds over in a little bit into the Buccaneers game. I think that it should have, but it didn't,
Yeah.
and I'll kind of tell why in a minute here. But go ahead and what did you think of, I guess, of the Rams game?
So we'll start with a brief breakdown of the Rams game. We all saw what happened. It was a lot closer than it should have been. We struggled against a usually good offensive line, but that offensive line was banged up, missing multiple starters. They lost even more starters in the game.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams lost one of their top wide receivers, and we still struggled to get to the quarterback. Aiden Hutchinson had a sack in that game. That was about it. Really, that's all we could do. We pressured Matt Stafford a little bit, but I was not impressed with that on defense. I think that was a problem. I think if I had one more problem to say on defense, it was that our secondary just needs to clean it up a little bit. TA is got some growing pains. He's going to have to stop making so much contact at the top of routes.
Yep.
And just kind of feed off the guy, play the ball. Don't be jostling hands too much like he has been. It's picked up.
Well, and
PI calls him back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, and he got away with that at Bama. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
A little bit of that, but that's not. You're a rook now. You're not getting that love from the NFL refs for sure.
So I guess if you want to say anything defensively, to start there, and then we can jump to the offense.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing. I'm just gonna kind of say the same thing you did. I think Hutch looked good for the most part in that game. There was a couple times where he was egregiously held. There were a couple times where I said he was held and you said he wasn't. But there were obvious ones, which is a good thing actually. It shows that he's getting the push, and the offensive line has to I guess respect him on that. So. I think he benefited a lot from Davenport. I think we saw what Davenport can be if he stays healthy, and what that defensive line can look like, especially when DJ Reader gets back. At that point, he wasn't. And honestly, I had to keep it in perspective in the first half because they had, like you were saying, obviously Puka Nacua got hurt, but in the first half it was two what I'm saying elite wide receivers. Obviously, Puka had one season so far, but I'm saying two elite wide receivers, and it was hard not to look at that that game and say, "Oh my, here we go again. Here we go again." But like you're saying, I think with some time, Brian Branch had a rough game. He had a lot of spots where he could have picked the ball off, and I shouldn't say rough, but he had a game where he could have had more interceptions. Just wasn't going his way, and I just think they need more time together. They needed more time together, and I don't know if I'm kind of moving into this. Maybe we do play our starters in preseason at least one game. I'm kind of starting to lean that way. Uh, I just think they would have benefited from having a little more time together on the field.
Yeah.
So
Offensively, we have problems. It's hard to have an offense that was as hyped up as it was in the offseason. Should be one of the best units in the NFL, and to see them just struggle so mightily. Um, it was apparent that for some reason we have just abandoned the run game. We used it sparingly, but we have one of the best offensive lines in the league, and we are not using it the way that we should be. We need to be pounding the rock down people's throats, and that opens up the pass game.
well,
And
that's been our MO for
yeah,
the last 3 years.
yeah,
Why
and
not?
as soon as we start doing it, we get to overtime, and guess what? We start doing what we should have been doing the whole game, and we
One
run it
pass in overtime,
right down their
little swing
throats.
pass.
Yeah,
Yep,
we run it right down their throats, and we punch it in for a touchdown in the game.
yep.
We could have had a way different outcome. I'm not going to complain it's a win, but we could have had a way different outcome had we actually just ran the ball the majority of the game. I don't know. I think we saw that. In my opinion, the Rams are pretenders this year. I just don't. I didn't see anything from them that impressed me.
I'll say I don't think they're. My opinion is that they're not pretenders. I think they have been hit early and often with the injury bug, and that has completely derailed their game plan for this season. Essentially, it's just got them basically playing off their back foot. So
Well, I think that in my opinion though that factors in because you sign people that
right,
are
you've got to have the
yeah.
depth, which
Jonah
yeah,
Jackson's always had that injury history
they
and
had to have known. I mean, you had to have known.
yeah.
There's a reason why we didn't give him
Yeah.
the bag. So
And Cooper Cup has had an injury history, and we saw in week 2 that he went
he's
down and
hurt.
he's heading to IR again.
Yeah.
Going to be out 4 weeks, so they're going to be without Puka Nacua and Cooper Cup for 3 to 4 weeks each.
Yeah, that is tough, especially when you're still working. Not that he was an absolute stud, but he was a very serviceable tight end. You're still working Higbee back. You don't know what he's going to be.
Kyron Williams has not looked like
Nope.
anything that he was last year. I mean, he had a rushing touchdown last week, but other than that, pretty mediocre. We know against the Lions team, that's asking a lot to run against them, though, because they're one of the best run defenses.
Number 4
in the
right now
league.
through 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, yep.
And that was without DJ Reader for 1 week. So
Yes, sir.
and a limited DJ Reader week 2. So with that, I think we just jump right into week 2 here.
Let me give a little bit on the
Oh,
offense.
you had offense too.
Yep,
Yeah, sorry.
yep.
Go ahead.
Jameson Williams is him.
Yes.
Jameson
could I forget?
freaking Williams is him. And I'm going to say something that Ben Johnson said this week, but I'm going to say it about week 1. So I'm still kind of saying it's kind of you're going to see this throughout the show probably. He's talking about Sam Laporta. He was asked about Sam Laporta and, is he struggling? Are you guys going to do some things to get him back in the offense and all this stuff? Spoiler alert, through 2 weeks, he's struggled. But what Ben Johnson said was, that is what happens when you have all of these weapons. He said, next week you're going to say it about somebody else, and then it'll be Amon Ra, and then it'll be someone else, and then it'll be Jameson Williams. You're not going to be able to get everybody 8 to 12, targets or 20 rushes or whatever. Would be nice if we could at least get like 15 rushes out of somebody, but that's neither here nor there. But don't look at it as a problem if we're winning games and people aren't putting up individual stats, because this offense has so many weapons. If and when it starts clicking, damn, it's going to be really beautiful. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about week 1.
And I think talking week 1, Jared Goff, I don't think he had a bad game. I don't think he had a good game. I think he just had a mediocre game. I think he made a poor decision on some passes, and Amon Ra saved his butt on one that should have been an interception to seal the game just about.
2 weeks in a row he's done that now.
Yeah, so that's going to jump us right into week 2, where I'm going to say Jared Goff had a bad game week 2, and that's not all his fault necessarily, but he made man. You and I said both watching that game, he looked scared. He looked
Yeah.
like he was rushed for some odd reason without even a pass rush in his face. He was throwing off his back foot. He was throwing the ball way too soon. He was multiple balls just bouncing in the dirt in front of the receiver, not even getting to his target. Multiple, passes sailing over his receiver. One of those ended up as a pick by Christian Izien. Um, the opening pick, obviously we know that was not his fault. The refs just with an awful missed call on a pass interference at the top of the route for Jameson Williams, trying to run an in route up at the top, and
I
the
was
guy
this
basically
close.
just hugged him.
I was this close to being done with that game after that. You saw me. I walked into the kitchen. I started doing other shit because I was just about done with it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that was awful. But we saw a resurgence from Amon-Ra. He started gobbling up receptions and went over 100, which was good.
and JMO still feasted
And
on that 50,
J-Mo had a
52,
huge,
I think.
yeah. And you weren't even in the room for that one.
That's like I said.
I was cheering because they nailed that one. But it was promising there. I was really promising. And then every time we'd get into the red zone, something would go wrong. We'd get penalties to back us up, or we would, make dumb mistakes, dumb play calls, and we end up going backwards instead of getting into the end zone. And I just don't. It
or
was
or or we'd run the kicking team out with 4 seconds
that
left.
that that's a separate thing, but I just think the offense should have had way more points than they did, but they didn't because Jared Goff was not playing well, and the interior of our offensive line also struggled with pressure, which was shocking with Vita Vea and what's the other guy's name that was out, the other D tackle? I can't remember his
I
name.
don't know, but Vita Vea I think made it
Second
through the
year
first
player, I
half
can't
though,
remember
didn't
what
he?
his name is. Yeah, but he did, but even then we were still getting
Yeah,
pressured and
we had abandoned the run.
yeah.
We had abandoned the run
And
completely.
so that was a problem, and it hurt our red zone offense. Our red zone offense is awful right now, and that leans on a little bit Jared Goff, but that also leans a lot on Ben Johnson.
I would like to throw this out there. I think you're going to disagree with me, and there are going to be a lot of people that watch this show that are going to disagree with me. But some of this is some of this is the departure of Josh Reynolds. It is.
I don't agree with you because
I am going to have to get some numbers because if you look at the production that, if I'm just going off of memory, the production that Josh Reynolds had in the red zone, I believe was helpful.
well,
I
yeah,
just,
but let's just
but if we can get someone like Tim Patrick in there,
yeah,
not saying he's going to be a stud, but if we can get somebody to at least relieve some of that pressure, it might help.
it's not. But the thing that I'm trying to say is, it's not like we don't have the guys open. It's not that we're like struggling to get guys open, and it's that we are trying too hard to make plays where they're not there. There's multiple times where we've got
Yeah.
a deeper route going to like the sideline or something, and Jared Goff opts to throw that ball into tight coverage rather than looking right in front of that guy 10 yards shallower, and there's Sam Laporta wide open right there. Why are we
Or
not giving it to him and giving him a chance to run?
or not making it through the progressions and jumping to the check down. I mean, you saw that a bunch of times. I mean, we had why are we throwing screenplays? Dude, I don't think a lot of those were actually like designed screenplays. There were some where you called me. I think there was one where you called me out. I said that wasn't even supposed to be a screen. You said it was designed, but I think there were quite a few of them where Jared Goff, again, like we're saying, got a little nervous, got worked up. Something happened where he was seeing ghosts out there, and he was checking it down way too often. And when he didn't check it down, like you said, he's throwing it into the dirt or into the hands of the other team. I love Jared Goff. Jared Goff is the quarterback of my team, and I support him 100%. I do not want to see Hendon Hooker in the game. That is absolutely idiotic. But he laid an egg this last week. There's nothing else you can say about it.
Realistically, all you can really say is the offense can only go up from here, and they have to. If we're
They
going
have
to
to.
win games,
One
they
for
have
7 in the
to.
red zone last game.
Yeah.
So
So awful.
yeah,
That I mean, again, we didn't run the ball. We were not running the ball at all. And I understand partially David Montgomery was getting, wrapped up at the line and we were struggling, but you got to be persistent with that kind of thing. Dan Campbell came out with a game plan and he said it after the game that they were trying to pass to open up the run. And while I understand doing that against a Buccaneers defense that is, struggles against the pass and is way better against the run, if you're making, you get like one or two chunk plays with the pass, then run the ball. Like
You
why are
can't.
we passing 50 plus times?
Yeah, this isn't a Matthew Stafford offense. We're not throwing that damn ball 50 times again
Yeah.
in a game. That was ridiculous. The one thing I'm going to say about that is, again, I want to make sure, because everybody wants to like jump this ship. They want to go, we're on the bandwagon Lions. We love them, and then they do something bad and we hate them, or whoever it is on the team. Dan Campbell. The only thing I have is that statement right there bothers me a little bit. He actually has a couple bangers that bother me this week, and I'll point a couple of them out. But that one is one, because if you are, that's fine. First half, that's fine. You know who you have on that defensive line. We're not dumb. Vita Vea, I totally understand. Use the pass to open up the run. Vita Vea is now sitting on the sidelines in the second half. You don't need to use the pass to open up the run. You need to use the run to open up the pass at that point. You have got to run the ball.
You need to use the run to open up the run. That's what you need
Well,
to do.
I mean, but that's the thing, and they did that. I mean, like you said, Monty had a rough game. But Gibbs, I think, averaged like 5.3 or 5.6 or something yards a rush. He wasn't getting shut down.
Yeah, and at that point also I'm wondering, okay, you're fearing the interior of that line, so why are we not running more outside runs, some zone runs to the outside, or do some kind of
Why the hell did
end
we get
arounds
him?
with Jamo, get him involved?
And that worked. He busted one off for 11 yards. He had one rush for 11 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Jamo did. At that point, if you're going to say we're struggling with the run and you're running it up the middle and it's not working, why the hell did we draft Jahmyr Gibbs? Because if there's ever a dude that has the speed to get sideways and then go up the sidelines north and south, damn it, it's Jahmyr Gibbs. And like you said, we've got other weapons that can do that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Only thing I want to point out, shout out to Jack Fox. Had a better passer rating than both of the quarterbacks on the field. He might be quarterback one this week. We'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, and that's one that we also need to just briefly speak on is if you are going to fake a punt in your own territory, which Dan Campbell, I love it. I'm completely okay with that. I was cheering when it happened.
You know I was
loved
not.
it. He hits Baki and they get the first down. That's fine. You convert that one. You go for it again on fourth down because you get into a spot in your midfield where it makes sense to go for it.
And
you pick it up
yep.
again.
Yep.
And then you end that drive with a punt.
And then stall.
That's ridiculous. That cannot happen. If you are going to be that aggressive, you cannot end that drive with a punt.
There's way too much excitement on that drive. Way too much. And this is what you're getting at. I'm echoing what you're saying. There's way too much momentum to be gained on that kind of thing. Where at least you come out of that with points. A field goal, I don't care. You can't come up empty on that. Way too much of a momentum swing.
I'm just questioning why we even have a kicker on the roster, especially a Jake Bates leg type kicker. He can hit from that distance. Give him a chance.
I was just seeing this. The percentage of and actually I think Phipp was asked this today. But the percentage of kicks, the amount of kicks and the percentage of kicks made from 40 on, and then majorly again at 50 on, is way up through 2 weeks now.
They are. I heard that on the broadcast the other night that there were only a few missed kicks from upwards of 50 yards in the NFL through 2 weeks.
And we have Legatron. And let's use him.
Yeah, so there's that one. I want to feed into another blunder, and that's involving the special teams. We get to the half, we do a great job running our 2-minute drill. We get it all the way down. We have a chance to go for a field goal to gain some points on the board. Everything's going right. We're getting ready to clock it, and all of a sudden a flag comes out, and our kicking team is on the field before the ball's clocked. The field goal unit is on the field. And I don't know if that's Dan Campbell. I know he took the blame for it, but that's what coaches do. That's inexcusable. If that's the players doing that, I don't know how you fix that, but that's inexcusable, especially for a team that's this experienced. There's a lot of experienced guys on that unit that should have known better than to be standing on the field before the ball's clocked. I just think, what's the point? What's the point here? You're not gaining anything by running out on the field quick. Like the clock is going to stop once the ball is clocked. The only reason this would make sense for you to be on the field is that you were not aware that they were going to clock the ball. Even at in that situation, your common sense should be telling you by the time we get out there, they're clocking the ball. There's going to be 3 seconds left. By the time we get out there, there's no way we're setting up for a field goal and kicking it.
All right, so here's the thing, man. This happened Sunday night. I came to a realization Sunday night. I already realized part of this, but Dan Campbell is a hell of a leader. That's the part I already knew. You and I both already know that. Dan Campbell is a hell of a leader. He fell on the sword for that play. Then, in that same post-game press conference, then starts to talk about the ins and outs of the time management. Well, if you get to 14 seconds, you know what you have there. He said then something like I don't know the numbers. I'm not the coach, but then we get to 8 and we know we got to do this. Like Dan Campbell didn't send those guys out there. Something happened on that sideline. I don't know who. It doesn't matter. It's spilt milk at this point. But Dan Campbell falling on the sword was Dan Campbell being a good leader. It is not Dan Campbell's fault. I can tell you 100% after that post-game interview, 100%, no doubt, was not him. He did not send those guys out there. Everybody, the reason I want to say this, the reason I'm kind of getting a little heightened here is because everybody wants to talk about Dan Campbell and clock management and blah, blah, blah. And it is rough. It's been rough. We know that. We've said that on the show. This was not on Dan Campbell, other than he didn't have control of what happened with whoever made that call. He didn't send those guys out there, though. I can tell you that with a 100% certainty. 100%.
We get to the last minutes of the game, and you were on the road. I don't know if you watched it fully. But we get down to those.
Are there any cops watching this?
I don't mean driving. I just meant you were not at home. So,
I watched the whole game. That's all I'll say.
You get down to those 2-minute situations, and what else does the defense and special teams have to do to give you a chance to win that game? You had 2 chances, 2 separate drives within 2 minutes to get points. The defense was doing its job all day long, and Jack Fox nails you a pretty punt to, flip field position, put the Bucs in a tough spot. They end up throwing an incompletion that stops the clock and even gives you a timeout to work with in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And you still can't get it done. And I know we had that pass to Jahmyr Gibbs where he's like 1, foot away from if he doesn't lose balance, he's going into the end zone, and that game is likely going to be either over or close to it. Buccaneers would get a chance to drive down and win it, but I understand that, but to me it's inexcusable to be inside 2 minutes like that and call the play calls they did. They were screen passing still and going backwards. And why? Throw the ball down the field, use your guys, create space. Jameson Williams blows the top off that defense. At the very least, you're gonna get a shot for him. And that last play of the game, why are we not throwing the ball into the end zone? Jared Goff throws it short, like 10 yards short of the end zone.
I think they were hoping for like a hook and ladder type quick play. It never works. I don't know why.
That's fine. I'd rather take my chance at just a lofted ball into the end zone and see who comes down with it.
I want to reiterate a couple things just to go off of what the tangent that you went on there. I want to go off. No, it's good.
I have a lot to talk about.
No, it's good. It's good. No, it's good. It's not a problem. I just have a couple things to touch on as you go through that. First and foremost, I want to make sure that I say again, Jared Goff is my quarterback. I love Jared Goff.
Oh no, we're not Jared Goff haters.
No. But what I'm about to say is going to sound like it though.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is none of us are calling for Jared Goff's job.
No.
That's not happening. We have full faith in Jared Goff. He just needs to elevate his play.
He needs to elevate his play. That last play of the game, Jared Goff, and you can fight me if you think I'm wrong, and we'll go over this if you want, consistently underthrows those deep balls. It has been a thing. I'm telling you it's been a thing. J-Mo looked bad with his ball tracking last year, and it was partially because of the timing, because they didn't have a camp. I know that. They didn't have the chemistry. I get that. It's looked a lot better this year. But Jared Goff has underthrown a lot of passes. He has a cannon, but when it comes to those deep passes, for some reason, a lot of them end up underthrown.
But let's talk real talk here, because that wasn't a deep shot that he would have had to take. It was at max a 20-yard toss to the end zone.
Well, yeah. I mean, and again, part of that is me watching it on this phone
Yeah.
screen in my
Yeah,
truck. But
just so you know, it wouldn't have had to been a Hail Mary attempt. It would have been literally like at max. I can't remember the exact field position they were at, but at max 25 to 30-yard toss.
okay. Um, the other thing I wanted to go back to the field goal or the end of the half lack of kicking a field goal. I tried to die on the hill of it was a 4-point game that didn't make a difference because it didn't do anything. If we would have scored those three, we would still would have
It
been one
would have.
short. But we did not go for a field goal in the fourth quarter. I think we were at it was like we were like on the 43-yard line or something, and we decided to punt and pin them deep. I think it's that Jack Box punt you were talking about.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have had to do that had we gotten onto the field and kicked that field goal
If we
before
would
the
have had that
half.
field goal, we could have kicked another
We
field
could have
goal.
taken the
It'd have
lead.
been a 2-point game,
Yeah.
us. So I was dying on a hill that I was incorrect. I did not look into the second half at what we didn't do because of where we were at in
Okay.
points.
I
So,
think I'm done with the negatives here because I think we need to highlight
some individuals.
well, not even that. That we need to highlight a whole unit because that defense played lights
Are you talking
out.
about bulges again?
I don't. Okay, shut up. That defense played lights out that game, right?
Yes.
Like Aiden
Nonstop.
Hutchinson. Let's give Aiden Hutchinson his flowers. 4.5 sacks is insane.
Yep.
Insane.
Yep.
Give him his flowers. He deserves everything. Should have gotten to play Defensive Player of the Week in the NFC for the NFL. I know they gave it to freaking Jesse Bates, whatever. I understand they only give it to winning teams. That's ridiculous. Jesse Bates had.
That's an individual award.
Tell me why 12 tackles is impressive. To me, all that tells me is that the first and second level of that defense didn't do a good enough job making tackles, so Jesse Bates had to do it on the back end.
It's a player of the week. It's not MVP.
It pisses
It's not
me
about
off.
most valuable. It's about the best individual.
Yeah, it's
Stats.
it's about who performed the best, and you don't put a win in there, unless like it's a crazy thing like you return a pick six for a touchdown to win the game. Then I by all means. But Jesse Bates.
Even then, I'd still have a problem with somebody getting 4.5 sacks. And yeah,
Jesse Bates
still.
made a good interception to seal the game. I get that. At the end of the day, that was an awful throw by the Eagles, and the Falcons should have never been in that situation anyways. If Saquon Barkley can catch a ball, he runs it in the end zone. The Falcons don't stand a chance regardless.
Or if Nick Sirianni had a brain in his head and didn't pass the ball, period.
Yeah. So, whatever. Hutchinson, great game. Got his jersey. Got the new jersey. Here you go, guys. Got a new one.
It's sexy.
It's nice. I got the hat too. Some nice swag. I got some Angry Runs shirts on their way in. I got the Monty and I got the Gibbs from last season as well. From the Raiders game.
I still think it's hilarious when they not to go too far off, but I would be remiss if I didn't say it when they interviewed David Montgomery and basically asked him like what got into him, and he said, "I hate overtime." He just wanted to get the hell out of there.
Okay. So yeah, Aiden Hutchinson, talk about him, great. Marcus Davenport was out for this game, and please Marcus Davenport stay healthy because I'm getting sick and tired of, having hope for him and then he just doesn't come through. He had like a finger problem last week that kept him out for a little bit, or in week 1, and now he's got a groin issue that's keeping him. That's ridiculous. Dude. How
today.
can you not stay healthy?
Full practice today. Let's stay confident.
Yeah, I'm hoping he comes back because he was a beast to be reckoned with in week 1.
That dude is a massive human being. You and I saw him.
He was
in person.
great.
Massive.
But anyway, he was out, and so we got to see some more guys, some different guys in there. I thought Mekhi Wingo played a little, played
good.
pretty good for seeing limited snaps. I thought DJ Reader played a limited role in that game. They kept him on like a snap count. I think is what Campbell's saying. He only had like 20 or
top 5
20
on the
to 30 snaps or something.
Top 5 on the defense according to PFF.
Yeah,
even with limited snaps.
It was great. He did a great job eating blocks and allowing Hutchinson to get in these one-on-ones. And for some reason, Tampa Bay just decided not to chip block him at all. And then we saw it wreak havoc on him. Aiden Hutchinson, in my opinion, had one bad play that entire game, and it was the one that set up Tampa Bay for the go-ahead touchdown. Baker Mayfield scrambled, and it's because Hutchinson was eager for a sack, and he went around the left side of the tackle
went too far. Yeah.
instead of keeping contained on the inside, and it
overran.
allowed Baker to scramble right through that hole.
That was a problem all game, though. Not on Hutchinson, but on the defensive line.
Let's revisit that in a second.
I know.
Because we'll get into that previewing next week. That's going to be a big thing. So
Yep.
so another guy that really deserves his flowers on that defensive line is Levi Onwuzurike. The hype is real.
I got another one for you, but go ahead.
The hype is real on Levi O. I cannot believe that we were just talking this summer about that guy's career being over, or even last season because of his back injury. And he comes back and realistically probably could have had 2 sacks of his own if Hutchinson wasn't there.
You're gonna let me segue into 2 different spots on this, so that's great. Keep going.
He was insane. Like where was this? Like, was it really just injury that was limiting him? Because he looks like a freak out there right
now. It had to be. I mean, really. I mean, look at the way we've drafted. I mean, yeah, it had to be.
Okay, so you can go ahead and segue in whatever you want to say.
The first the good, I'll say. You gave an unsung hero. And I'll throw Derek Barnes in there. Yeah. Derek Barnes was flying all over that field, and Derek Barnes had a great game, an unsung great game, quiet game. But
Anzalone, he had to step up because Anzalone stepped out with a concussion.
Yep, Anzalone had a hell of a good first game though, big time.
Oh yeah.
So the second segue that I want to do, and this will be an unsung zero. James Houston, man, I'm done. I'm out. I'm saying it right now. 7:33 p.m. On September 19th of 2024.
Date of death. Time of death.
James Houston is done. He's cooked. Stick a fork in him. He's done.
Yeah, I cannot defend James Houston anymore. He played like 3 snaps.
Yeah,
in a game where he wasn't limited at all.
We can't find a use for him. When he's on, he's on. But when he's off, he's basically, if you were to see a piece of confetti fly onto the field and just blow across real slow, that's about what you have as your 11th person on that field.
Yeah.
So
I've got 2 other things to say linebacker wise. I think Rodrigo played extremely well in limited roles. He was stuffing runs all game.
If you don't pay attention to PFF, which we don't very often, so
no, and PFF can take stuff in.
Or bottom 5.
In the plays that I saw Rodrigo making plays, he was impressive. I remember
the first quarter
in the entire game.
The first quarter, he made a couple good tackles, and you and I looked at each other like, okay.
To me, Jack Campbell still worries me a little bit.
He might be wearing a green dot this week.
He still worries me a little bit. I have not seen enough out of him to tell me that he was worth that first-round pick. Do I like him? Do I like the size, the potential of the player? Yes. Has he proven that he was worth that pick yet? No.
You did say during the game, it's possible that Jack Campbell was a miss. So yeah, that's
I don't mean to. I want to clarify here before I get called out too bad. I don't mean a miss as in like he's a bust. He's
talking about a Miss Anderson.
No, what I'm saying is for a guy to be taken in the first round, you have to have an impact in those first 2 years at some point.
Mm-hmm.
He has not had that impact. He's looked lost at some points, and I feel like he was more beneficial to be a second round pick. Maybe even later, the third round. I don't know, but I understand you get him the size. He's a beast. He can be if he works it out. But right now, I'm not seeing what I need to see from him.
We picked him with our actual pick, right? We didn't trade up for him, right? I believe.
Right. Yeah, we picked him at like 21 or something like that.
Just making sure. That not that makes a huge difference, but it just hurts a little more. So real quick, kind of talk about Amik real quick. I love Amik. Good player, amazing. Everybody's blaming Terrion Arnold for the Godwin touchdown, and I went back and looked at that play again and again and again. It wasn't Jack Campbell. He should have stayed underneath. It wasn't Terrion Arnold because he had to stay in his zone spot. Amik Robertson got burned by Godwin. They got confused. There was confusion, but that was 100% Amik's guy. So I'm just saying.
So let's jump into the secondary really quick. We'll talk about them. TA again. We'll say he had another bad pass interference call, and that one I think was more controversial than the week one. I think that one could have been easily waved off.
I think it gets waived off if it's not hands to the face.
Yeah, he did
I think
tap him on the
100%.
helmet.
Yep.
And that I understand
If
that.
you're
I
hitting
remember seeing
shoulder
that,
pads
yeah.
or chest plate, that one gets waived.
Yep.
I really do
Yep.
think so.
Because we were both looking at each other saying that wasn't pass interference, and upon replay, you see him like
Had
hit
his
the
hand
helmet.
on his helmet.
You can't do that.
Yep.
The other thing is Brian Branch bounce back game.
Woo-wee, Brian Branch is back, baby.
Yeah, bounce back game from that week 1 performance. I think he still played well in week 1. People were hard on him. Week 1, he made a lot of tackles. He made a lot of he made some good PBUs, and he had some plays that are picks in most games, and for some reason he just couldn't get his hands right.
They just didn't bounce for him.
Yeah. This week he gets a pick. He gets a pick on a beautiful ball up the middle where it looked like Godwin and Evans were confused on their routes, and so that kind of helped a little bit, but great coverage. He comes away with an interception. So 2 straight weeks with an interception for the secondary.
I'm not sure if that was confusion or if that was a play design, but that was really weird how close they were on their crossing routes.
It's usually you'll see that, and you'll see the one guy go on it like a deeper, and the other one's a little bit more shallow. For some reason, I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Evans that ran the underneath. He went too close to Godwin, and they're like, within 5 to 10 feet from each other.
The only thing I can think is if it was for some reason our secondary was really sticky that game, it could have been like one of those pick play routes, where one of them was trying to kind of essentially set a pick, but it happened way too late in the route. I mean, it just was the bad design or something.
So that's I think that's all we need to. Do we need to talk about more on the Buccaneers game? I think we kind of covered it all there.
Yeah, I mean, if there's another him, it's Jake Bates.
Yeah.
He's him.
Yeah, Jake Bates has proven that he should at least get some chances from the coaching
Run
staff.
the damn football.
Yeah. This show is brought to you by Empire Contractors over here in Shelby, Michigan, on the west side of the state where we do our show, right along the lakeshore. Empire Contractors is a commercial roofing contractor who specializes in liquid applied roofing restoration. Check this out.
They can clean your existing roof, make some minor repairs, and apply a new thick coating system over your existing roof, avoiding expensive and nasty tear-off, saving you about half the cost over other systems. Empire Contractors work the entire Great Lakes region.
Give them a call to see if your roof is a candidate. They can be reached at 231-861-7221 or by going to roofsbyempire.com. They are also on Facebook. I think we need to jump in now. Take a look at what we got coming. Week 3 here. We're taking
Glendale, Arizona.
Taking our first road trip down to the, what do they call that?
The Red Sea.
Yeah, that's the fan zone. Don't they? They don't. No, that's not Death Valley. That's college. I'm thinking of. I don't know why I'm thinking of
Happy Valley. Nope, that's not it either.
Anyway, we're taking a trip to Glendale, Arizona, and we'll be taking on the Cardinals in their home stadium. This is going to be an interesting game because the Cardinals have been pegged as a surprise team in the NFL coming into the season, and they are proving that every bit. The lackluster stuff that we saw in week 1 was fixed. We were worried, not we as in us, but people were worried because Murray wasn't connecting with Maserati Marv. They weren't connecting. Week 2, they sure as heck fixed that because Marvin Harrison popped off. Looked like a top 10 pick.
Kyler Murray, 158.3 passer rating.
Yeah, Kyler Murray cooked, but again, put it into a little bit of perspective. They were playing a Rams team that is banged up, and they weren't putting any pressure on them offensively. So their offense could just go out there and do whatever they wanted.
Which is it is what it is, like you're saying. Take it with a grain of salt, but it also is scary because it gives them confidence.
Oh yeah, I'm not knocking them at all. I'm just saying take it with a grain of salt because you know who they were playing, and no one was toting the Rams secondary as one of the best in the league. Their linebackers are weak. Their defensive line is supposed to be good, but I didn't look at their performance too much there. But no, Cardinals look good. We are going to jump back to what we were saying with Aiden Hutchinson and the contain. The defense has to be aggressive in terms of rushing the passer, but smart, knowing that when you close in on Kyler Murray, you have got to prioritize your You get the hiccups. Prioritize your run fits and the gaps between your tackle and guard because
Mhm.
as soon as you get close to him, if you run around him too far, he's stepping up and he's gone. And he's one of the most lethal runners at the quarterback position. He's right up there with Lamar Jackson.
One thing I'll say, and I'm not a defensive coordinator. I actually don't do real well on defensive plays and schemes and stuff. I'll be honest. I just have not really been real good at that. But if we decide to play zone and our corners are struggling, one really good use for Jack Fox or Jack Fox. Jack.
He's got Jack Fox on his mind.
He can throw the ball. He can tackle. He can do whatever the hell you want him to. Shout out Jack. Love that guy. No, Jack Campbell. One good thing that they could do with him is a QB spy.
I was just thinking that there's going to be a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of plays where they're going to put a guy in there as a spy.
If Anzalone's healthy, he's the guy. If not, Jack Campbell. Both those guys can absolutely fly to the ball when they need to. I
Any
think it would
concern to
be a
be had
smart
this
idea.
week? We do have some limited guys in practice. 3 cornerbacks limited in practice this week. So
Carry on with an illness. I'm not sure what that means, but
I don't know. And he also had that big old wrap on his hand last game. I don't know what that was about.
Campbell did come on and say that was nothing serious. It shouldn't hold him out of games.
Okay.
So, but then now he's got an illness. So
yeah. So that's the biggest thing we've got to look at is the playmaking ability of Kyler Murray, whether he's running the ball or just moving around the pocket. He can orchestrate the offense in a way that allows guys to break off their route and just find space. Maserati Marv did that this week. Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of, ran a route, ended up on the sideline. It wasn't going anywhere. He was covered. Kyler Murray was about to get sacked, and he just kind of broke up and went upfield, and they found him for a huge play.
Yeah. I think that was a touchdown, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Couple things for the defense, just to throw it out there so there's no overreactions, because a win is a win, and we can come out of there. Hutch might have a slower game because they are definitely going to scheme around Hutch. Hopefully Davenport's a go. And the other portion I would hope not to see is what we saw in game 1. You and I both said this. Look how fast Stafford is getting that ball out. If there's no in between, if there's Kyler Murray gets the ball out real quick, or Kyler Murray, creates something in the pocket or gets out of the pocket and then throws the ball downfield, we could be in trouble. So this game will be won and lost on the defensive trenches for us.
To me, there's got to be if he's doing that quick passing, the best thing to do is to go into man-to-man coverage and play a lot of press because that way you're going to be right up on the receivers. There's not going to be a target right there for them to, just release the ball quick because you should have a guy right there waiting.
But then you do that, and you've got to be prepared for adjustments.
Well,
exactly. Which it takes too long, and he starts running around.
If they see that, and then they start adjusting their game, but then that's fine. That's the chess match. That's the chess match. Then you've got to adjust yourself. But
this could be our first look at AG with adjustments with the defense we have.
I think,
we'll see how
in my opinion, if this game goes well, what you're going to see is not a lot of high sack numbers from the Lions because they're not going to be rushing the passer. They're going to be working contain. If they can force Kyler Murray into some situations where he has to throw the ball and make decisions, I think that could lead to more interceptions, big plays, PBUs. I'd expect more out of the secondary. There's going to be a lot of onus put on them. Hopefully, we get our guys back healthy before the game starts. That would be huge. I don't. To me, it's not going to be that big of a game having to stop the run. They've got James Conner, but James Conner really hasn't shown much to this point. He's capable, but they haven't been running the ball all that much.
Yeah. I mean, we're like I alluded to, top 4, ranked number 4 right now in rush yards allowed. The Lions are on defense. Just to put that in perspective, though, Arizona's 9, I think. So, this is not the Arizona of the last couple years. I'm just gonna say, I think when we went and did our, our record guesses or whatever, predictions. I actually did pick this as a win for the Lions, but I do remember saying at one point that this could be one of those trap games. You're going into Arizona after 2 home games, and it's just scary. So
now, just a preview. Do not panic, Lions fans. If they lose this game, do not panic. I would say the only time I would give you a chance to panic is if we lose to them, and then we lose to the Seahawks. Then it may be time to get a little bit scared, because then you've got a bye week, and then you've got a absolutely nasty stretch of games down the road in November, December.
if we lose to the Seahawks, Brendan will be doing the show alone from now on, because he will be on here announcing my time of death, because I will make it to 36 years old on my birthday, and I will be done.
Offensively, anything to say for the Lions? I know that Cardinals defense isn't great, but the one area that they've always been good at is those athletic linebackers who are good in pass coverage.
Buda Baker, man, he is flying around on that defense.
If there was ever a chance to push the run, it's this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, yep. Let them overcompensate, essentially. And use the run to open up the damn pass game.
Yeah.
Early.
I'd like to see them get going. I'd like to see some more gadget plays. I'd like to see Vaki maybe get a little bit involved,
Yep.
I don't know what the answer is. Hopefully, I'm hoping that this week we're going to see a little bit more out of Tim Patrick, because he was just getting involved last week in his first game action.
The one thing I hope for this game, first of all, 2 things. I hope that we get the red zone figured out. Yeah. I hope that we can do something there.
That's a must. We will not win this game if we do not figure out the red zone.
The one thing I hope, though, because it is a little nerve-wracking to think about, is I know we're 1-1, and we were 1-1 at the same spot last year. We were in the same spot. So anybody overreacting, we were in the same spot. The one thing that I hope doesn't happen is an overreaction by the coaching staff. I think it was Jim Harbaugh, when he was coaching Michigan, taught those kids. I think it was him, said, keep the main thing. And that is important. Do not lose your identity because you lost a game. Do not change and go doing crazy, weird stuff because you lost a game. Keep the main thing. Stay with what's been working, and we'll still be a really good team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Do you have any other points you want to talk about that game? Points of emphasis, anything?
Not really, other than if you want to do our
I was just going to say, do you want to do like a score prediction?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and give me what you think.
I'm going to say we win this one. It's going to be a Jared Goff revenge game. I think he's going to come out slinging. I think the run game is used. I'm going to say we win this one. I'm going to say it's going to be a close one, though. I'm going to say 26-23.
I think we win this one as well. I'm probably just going to say we're going to win almost every game when I'm talking about this, because I'm a Lions fan. But
we're homers.
to me, I'm thinking offense is going to be a little bit better, but still going to struggle. I don't think you fix that in a week. So 21 Lions, 17 Cardinals.
Okay, so about the same point differential or close.
Yeah.
It's going to be a close one. The last thing I wanted to say about Dan Campbell, I told you there were a couple things he said this week that I wasn't super happy with. The other thing that I want to say is, and I got in an argument on X, go figure, with somebody. He said, in an interview, I think it was Tuesday, he said, I wouldn't be surprised, if we're not really clicking until after the bye.
Why? There's no excuse.
That's what he said.
I don't understand that.
Why the hell would you say that? If that's the case, that's fine. But why would you give your guys the outs?
To me,
I use the argument, if a manager, because I'm a manager, if a manager goes and tells his boss, we got this, it's 3 months, we got this project 3 months, but don't worry, the first 4 or 5 weeks we're going to look like absolute crap, but I tell you what, we're really going to pull it out in the end. I'm going to get fired. That manager's going to get fired. Why would you say that out loud?
No.
Maybe it's the case. Maybe you're laying the groundwork. Maybe you're going over your blueprints. Maybe you're fixing little things here and there, and then you're going to get it in the end. But why would you say it out loud?
No, I need you to calm down for a second, because I think we need to remember who Dan Campbell is. He's not an eloquent speaker.
He wears his heart on his sleeve.
And he's not an eloquent speaker. So what I'm thinking he's meaning by that is, you're going to be good enough to win games. Your offense is not going to be clicking at the high caliber rate that it can be until after the bye, and that's just because that's chemistry. That's just guys getting out there and
I
getting
get
a
it.
feel for the game,
I
and that's
understand it.
fine. But you need to have your offense needs to be better than what it was.
I understand that, but my thing, and I know you're saying it's because he's not an eloquent speaker. True. Yes. Okay. He's got some bangers. We love it. You know, three toes and an ass cheek or whatever the heck, one ass cheek, whatever it is. It goes hand in hand with after losing an NFC championship, you say to your team, this might have been our only chance at this. Is it true? Yep. Is what he said this week true? Could be. Some things can go without being said out loud. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I know he wears
that's
his heart
okay.
on his sleeve. That stuff drives me nuts, though, because, again, I've said it. I'm not going back on it. I agree with it. He's a great, great leader. But sometimes, dude, you're hurting more than you're helping in certain
Yeah.
spots.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, so we got our predictions out of the way. I think a few things that I want to wrap up the show talking about. We can look around a little bit, right?
Okay.
Shut up. Minnesota Vikings are a little bit scary right now. Am I
Fake.
scared of them?
Fake.
Not really, but they are playing well right now, and Sam Darnold is shockingly playing well.
Okay. Who'd they just beat this week? The San Francisco 49ers. Brandon Ayuk had zero practice except for 1 week. He's had 1 week of practice. Deebo Samuel got hurt. You got McCaffrey on IR. So
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they're playing.
I know, but
world-beating teams, but
I know, but you look around X and oh my God, we need to start looking at Minnesota because they might be a top 5 defense. Get the hell out of here.
Listen,
who have they played?
Listen. The Vikings are looking good, and I'm not going to doubt that. I don't think anyone should doubt that. The Vikings are playing good, right?
About as good as the Bears are playing bad.
Shut up. That's all I'm going to say about the Vikings right now. The Bears, I'm going to save the Bears for last. The Packers, are playing.
Love's coming back
well.
this week.
Jordan Love had to take a week off. We'll see if he gets back to form this week if he plays.
That's so crazy that he went from, oh my gosh, it could be 6 to 8 weeks to it's definitely 3 to 4, and now it's 1, and they're talking about him coming back.
I don't know if I would bring him back.
That's
that quickly.
Not smart.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Anyway, so we'll see how the Packers look. They looked pretty good with Love in there, but Malik Willis didn't look that bad. I mean, he wasn't great, but he's not a bad backup, that's for sure. And then lastly, in our division,
he's
the
better
Bears.
than Nate Sudfeld.
The Bears. We tried to tell you.
We both tried to tell you numerous times.
We tried to tell you. Caleb Williams.
Bust.
It looks like an absolute joke of an NFL quarterback. And yes, the offensive line is terrible. Yes, the offensive line is terrible. He was pressured on like a majority of his snaps this week.
Don't worry, though. They have DeAndre Swift.
But he keeps missing open receivers. He looks lost out there a lot of times. He's scrambling too much trying to make big plays, and it's just not working for him.
We said that was a problem.
I thought it was absolutely hilarious, and I know whatever, but thought it was absolutely hilarious after the game this week. He shook C.J. Stroud's hand, and C.J. Stroud, who just came out of college last year, held him and just said, "You gotta stop taking those hits, man," and trying to give him advice. And Caleb Williams looked like he was just pissed and didn't even want to talk to him because Caleb Williams is the god of football. Didn't you know?
I'm wondering if you want me to even speak on this.
So
we're gonna get canceled.
Once again, Keenan Allen has showed that he cannot stay healthy. He's
called it
sidelined. Rome Odunze got banged up, and he's supposed to be coming back, which is fine. Eberflus came out this week and said the Bears will not be making any changes to their starting lineup, and that includes the offensive line. So continue to see more pain. That's going to happen. Caleb Williams, with the hits I saw him taking last week, may be out a Joe Burrow type year if he continues taking that kind of punishment.
I never wish,
and I will never
that
root
on anybody.
Never root for injury, but God, am I hoping for them to fail.
I don't want Caleb Williams to get injured. I want someone to knock some sense into him and bring him back down to earth. That's all I want.
I don't know.
I mean, you can say whatever you want. I'm not saying I want him to do the freaking Tua thing. Not saying that. Tua, please retire, bro. Please retire. Please.
We can keep them out. We're not
Anyways,
talking about them.
I just they are who we thought they were. I mean, we saw video of two Bears linemen blocking each other last year, and instead we decided to go with Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams in the first round. I mean,
Caleb Williams was the smart choice. Most people would have taken Caleb Williams.
Jaden Daniels.
That's fine. Most people would have taken Caleb Williams in that situation. The Rome Odunze pick is inexcusable to me. Like, you had the weapons that you needed.
You already went out and got people.
You had the weapons you needed, and you could have gotten the guy that the Jets got, that Olu Fashanu. You could have had him. Nope.
I'm trying really hard not to just go off because I knew it. I mean, I know we're only 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
But he looks like ass.
I think we'll be having the last laugh in there. He looks booty cheeks right now. Saints.
Justin
could the
Fields
Saints be
looks
the real
better
deal?
than Caleb Williams right now.
Let's keep NFC. We don't need to talk about AFC right now.
I'm just saying. I'm staying with it. I'm staying with it.
Are the Saints the real deal?
Fake.
Okay. I guess that's all we need to say there then. I think they could be good. It's just going to see if Derek Carr can continue.
I think the Saints will win 9 games. That's it. They're done.
Shout out Alvin Kamara for his unreal fantasy performance this week. Over 40 fantasy points for me.
And by shout out Alvin Kamara, he means he was shouting out his name last night in bed while he was sleeping because he was so excited about his fantasy
I wasn't
football.
sleeping.
I was like, man, was that fantasy football? He was like, it was a fantasy of some sort.
Yeah, no, I didn't say that. Anyway, you got anything else? Anything else you want to talk about around the league? Anything?
The one thing I will, if you want to ask who's possibly the real deal, I will say Tampa Bay Buccaneers might be the real deal. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are good. I think they're good. If they're healthy, they're good.
I think Tampa Bay struggled to put up any yardage on us, and the only reason they won that game is because we couldn't put any points on the board.
I think
it wasn't anything they did defensively. It was just us screwing up.
I think we're that much better than them, but I think they're good. I think they're a really good team.
I think
better than the Saints.
I think the Saints have a better chance at winning that division. I think the Falcons have a better chance at winning that division.
Although I will give Derek Carr more credit than anybody seems to want to. I don't know. He's just one of those, black sheep of the NFL for some reason. I don't know why people don't give him his credit, but he's a good quarterback.
Well, just think about this, Bears fans. If it happens that Caleb Williams just isn't the guy, you can always trade for Bryce Young.
I mean, if you guys want to give us the next 5 first-round picks, we'll give you Jack Fox as your quarterback. I'm just saying. All right. Jack Fox is not for sale.
You got anything else?
That's all I got, man. We got to win this. We got to win this week.
Yep. This should be we're looking forward to a victory Monday. Hopefully we just smoke these Cardinals. Roll in, take out the Seahawks on a Monday Night Football, and roll into the bye week feeling good.
Yeah. That's all I got, man.
All right.
The next game is Monday Night Football.
Yep. Let's go. We're going to beat the Cardinals. That's all I got to say. Go Lions.
Go Lions, baby.